I will I will light the world peace candle. I've been carrying the world peace candle since 2015. Was gifted to me by Elder Dan Creeley of Illinois. He follows the teachings of Grandmother Key, Ojibwe elder. Dan couldn't be with us today because he's going in for surgery, so I send prayers for a successful outcome on that for him. And today's topic was inspired by Leila. Thank you so much. When you used the term sacred rage at our last meeting, it went crazy to people because I was talking to people about it and I researched it. I'm going, I've never heard this term before, and I got to know more. And I started researching, and I found so much information. I had to sort of condense it from what I could find online. So thank you, Leila, for bringing this to our attention. And it seems to be what they going viral sort of thing because everybody loves the term and the definition of it. And I want to read that. I mean, Suzanne did send a copy out to everyone, but in case you didn't get a chance to read it, and I just sort of picked out pieces of the definition that I found applied to us and what we're doing in life ourselves and who we are. So this is what I found, and this parts of this really felt deep to me. Sacred rage over global events is a purposeful, deeply felt, and often collective emotion that arises in response to profound injustice, oppression, or violence. Unlike reactive rage, which can be destructive, sacred rage channels anger that functions as a protector of human dignity and a catalyst for positive transformation and justice. It's a no more energy that stems from deep love for humanity and the planet, serving as a tool to dismantle rather than perpetuate cycles of harm. It serves as fuel for change, transforming feelings of powerlessness. It is often characterized as generational force, carrying the unexpressed truth of ancestors and uniting people in solidarity against oppression, maintaining an open heart that allows one to feel the pain of the world without becoming bitter, hardened, or small. In essence, sacred rage is the refusal to remain silent or numb in the face of injustice, transforming unbearable pain into powerful, conscious action, using rituals or safe places to process anger so it can be transformed into productive action rather than explosive, uncontained destruction. Blessings on our sacred rage, and may it shift the world. And it felt so, especially the part about the ancestors. And I realized our ancestors were oppressed and our ancestors were abused, and that is in our DNA. That memory is in our soul and in our DNA. And now that all of this is happening all over the world, the ancestor DNA is going, do something, please. Awaken and do something. And it's up, and we're all going, oh, we have to do something. So this is a very, very important topic today. And thank you, Leila. Leila's in my community here in Ontario, Canada. So, and we at the same art gallery together as well. So it really touches my heart that she brought this topic to us so that we can delve into it from our different perspectives around the world. So that's my opening. So I'm going to hand it over to Suzanne and get her to kickstart everything for us.
Okay.
Suzanne, your mic is on.
I'm muted.
Yeah. I wanted to say that it would be good if everybody mutes so that we don't have an echo. So I muted myself. Thank you very much, Gayle, for that introduction, and those lines deeply resonated with me as well. As you might know, I have co-founded this academy with Gayle, who I met 2 years ago in Hawaii. And at the beginning, I was circling around her in a big circle because I was so impressed by her and so frightened by her power. But then we got to know each other, and so we are walking this path together. I'm very, very happy about that. And we discussed briefly how we're gonna go about with this topic, and we some of us know each other, but some of us are still not familiar with each other. So I would suggest each of us just introduce yourself, please, 1 or 2 sentences, and then if you have a resonance to what Gayle just read out, maybe you could just say what is resonating with you, or what is resonating in general with this topic, sacred rage.
So once we do the circle around, are we going to go back to each person so that they go in depth into their presentation of the sacred rage? Is that what you're?
Yeah, I think we should just introduce ourselves and then see where we resonate with the topic and with your quote. And then I'm sure there are lots and lots and lots of cross connections.
Yeah, and how you handle it in your own community or your own traditions and your own culture.
And how you would like to see it expressed, or how you already express it in your community.
Yeah.
In a non-destructive way. I mean, that's one of the aspects I'm really particularly interested in, actually.
Yeah.
So anybody would like to start? Just introducing yourself and then.
I could start.
Thank you, Yashodhara.
So I'm Yashodhara. I'm not so far from Suzanne. I'm also in Bavaria. I'm very happy to be here today. Full on. Last time I was in the train, was a little difficult. And I thank you for the topic. I mean, it is so spot on. I mean, Lila, I heard it comes from you. As I read it in the introduction in a few weeks, some time ago in the mail, I was like, yeah, it's a very topic. Oh, maybe I should introduce myself first with 2 lines. Besides living in Bavaria, I'm an Awakening Woman teacher. I am connected with Awakening Woman International. The founder is Chamali God. He lives in California, and we organize women's circles and make consciousness awakening in our female way, also spirituality for this female woman, and it is my passion. And also in the circles, it's a lot about embodiment. So we do a lot with touch, and we found out that healing happens through experiencing of the trauma, but then with the touch and the support of the circle, it is a very healing phenomenon. I could speak about it long, but I will keep it short. So that's my passion for the woman, the spirituality for the woman. And of course, we as women we have sacred rage. And recently I've been coming in touch with, we are in Germany, and so, and also in Holland, I'm Holland, from Dutch from origin, but I live here in Munich, close to Munich. And just a few weeks ago, I had listened to some podcasts about the wound of the witches of the world. They called it the witch wound. And it touches me, as you were just saying, the DNA of our ancestors who were so suppressed. I could immediately connect with that, with we can put also the sacred wound of the witches, what has been, and it was very strong in Germany. It was also in Holland, but in Germany much stronger and longer. And so this opportunity for us now that we can speak up, but how much it's still in our DNA that we hold back, and to look at that. And that's, yeah, that inspires me. And also I remember Chamali in Awakening Woman many years ago. I'm with her 20 years now. And I remember how she would say in a retreat, you just imagine that Hygiena's and Hygiena mother, what she would do to protect her children, and she would express it to us. And it was like so alive, like, oh, what would it be if we all women would stand up and say no? And then shortly I heard a Palestinian woman, was an interview with her, it was very touching. She lives in Portugal, and she's a Bedouin from origin. And she does do, maybe you've heard about the woman in white. They want to go with thousands of women in Palestine for peace. And now even next week it's in here in Munich. There will be a peace in the Marienplatz, women in white getting together. But what touched me was that Cissé, talking about sacred rage, she said, but we have to do our work first, because we have to be able to see every human being beyond the system, beyond whatever country they are from. And she was sharing that she was a nurse and being in Jerusalem, and there was a wounded soldier, Israeli soldier, and a wounded Palestinian soldier, and they are two human beings, wounded and suffering. And this capacity of us women to live, to have this peace in us, to see beyond the systems, and much more. But that's, just to bring that in, that it's not a fight against the fight. Sacred rage is that we are still in the compassion and still can say, and she was also saying very strong, to say no to what is not good and to say yes to what is good, and also to say no to behavior and not saying no to human beings. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. So many aspects. Thank you very much, Yashodhara. Anybody would like to follow up?
I will. I'm Diane Roach. Hello to all of you wonderful women. I did watch the video of the first gathering of this roundtable advisory, and I texted Gayle and said, yes, I'd really like to join the sacred rage. It's such a powerful question. And I have been ruminating about that ever since. And Gayle posted a comment about personal rage and collective rage. Excuse me, I meant to shut my telephone off. I told my sister I was going to be on a Zoom call. Anyway, so I've been thinking about it a lot. I'll leave that for a moment. I want to stay in integrity with time. I can introduce myself more, but just to say, I think quickly, I come from Boston, Massachusetts. I'm living in the United States of America, and I'm just assuming there are no politics here, but we're all feeling what's happening in the world. And if I could apologize for the person heading this country right now and for my entire country, I would, to the world. I'm embarrassed, humiliated, can't even believe it myself, what's happening. So there you have that. And the end of the political rant that clearly could bring up a lot of rage for a lot of people. But for me, I was married young. I had a child, married and divorced, married a man with 4 children, still both of us at a very young age. So the two of us brought up our 5 children. And I worked in my husband's business for 15 to 20 years. And when the kids were all grown, I got this, I believe, calling to become a nurse midwife. I had no medical background. And so I wouldn't leave me alone. I kept saying, leave me alone, world. I've already raised 5 kids. But it wouldn't leave me alone. And so I started thinking, how do I become, I would have to become a registered nurse first. I wanted the medical training behind me. And I have to say, it was a long and winding road. It never worked out the way I thought it was going to work out, but it always worked out. And oftentimes for the better. And I loved the work. And I, for 5 years, worked on a Navajo Indian reservation in Chinle, Arizona, which was my heart job. I loved working with the Navajo women and their families. And then an illness took me down, and I wasn't able, I haven't, that was in 2014, and I haven't worked since, but I do keep my licenses current, and you never know, I can write. And I may, as you can imagine, I have a lot of very strong rage about some of the new laws that have come down the road in the United States, which I thought was a free country. I grew up believing in freedom. My father fought in World War II. He was a paratrooper, an Army paratrooper, so his children would know freedom. And my sister and I do know freedom. We have lived in a free world. I never had the constraints of not being able to say something. And I would say we were brought up in a very kind of open-minded family. My mother was one religion, my father was another. And so my sister and I got the very wonderful experience of just being open-minded. We lived with my grandmother, and she did not care which church we went to as long as we went to church and learned the language of spirit, is what I call it. I would use different words than my grandmother. And I also had the great gift in life of watching a woman live her faith. A statue of the Blessed Mother in her bedroom. I would often run into her room and she'd be there praying with her rosary. I would never see her cry, but the day her sister died, she was in there with tears coming down and praying the rosary. So I got to see that. And my grandmother went to church every single day as long as she could and lived into her 90s. So that was my sort of growing up basis. I felt very free to speak my mind. But my father told me, my own father, that I have a sharp tongue. So I've had to learn to tone it down, because it comes with fire sometimes when I speak the truth. And it's not easy. I understand it's very hard for a lot of people to face the truth. I'm tempering it. I'm trying to learn to temper it. So when it comes to, so I eventually went, so I'm just going to try to, again, compact here something I've written, but fast forward, I wanted to say one more important thing. My daughter, my biological daughter, joins me in this effort, and she works as an environmental activist in California. And she's right out there. And these days, I feel it's very dangerous for somebody to do that. I think Gayle has had a couple of run-ins with Facebook, etc. So we need to be careful. Okay. The very best short story I can tell. I have had shamanic training in a never formal, but I would say from Lynn Andrews, I mentioned before, or I'm not sure if I was on mute, who was a medicine woman, has now passed away in 1922, but I started working with her in 1989. She eventually opened a school, but that's where I became called to become a midwife. So for maybe a decade or more, I was busy getting educated to become a nurse midwife, and I couldn't attend those meetings.
Diane, can we talk about the sacred rage now?
Yes.
We've got a good idea who you are and what you've done. So let's move to the sacred rage so everyone else has a chance to speak.
Okay.
Thank you, dear.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'd like to go back to the basis you gave me, Gayle, online about sacred rage being personal and to the collective consciousness. And those are my words, if I'm paraphrasing you. Personal rage, we all feel. We are protectors. Women are protectors of our children and other people. And it is a story, a quick story I just want to tell folks that sort of embodies, I think, how my rage affects me and can affect others. I was working one day, and this is a pretty quick story, but so I'm still processing sacred rage. I have been really working on it. I've been trying to, I think I do understand it is me right now who has to, I'm changing very quickly. I'm healing my nervous system is the first thing I have to do. And I'm trying, or I am doing that daily. But I was working one day on the res, and the floor was very busy. Every birth room, we had 4, was full, triage was full, postpartum was full, and the newborn nursery was full. And the young doctor, brand newly minted out of University of New Mexico, was sitting there in the middle of the nurses' station. And every nurse I had, and every nursing assistant, secretary, everybody was busy getting people admitted, checking people in, putting in IVs, getting ready for a patient. The very next thing, there was nothing for me to do in that moment. I had organized all of that. The one thing that needed to be done was a tray of food had been brought by the kitchen for the patient in triage. I'd already assessed her. She wasn't in labor. She had gone to a rodeo the day before and she was dehydrated, so we were getting her some fluid. And I'm telling you that women on the res to this day do not all of them, but some still do not have electricity or running water and often are hungry. So I picked up the food tray and was bringing it into this woman in triage who was stable, and the baby was stable. And the doctor said to me, "Diane, don't you bring that tray in that room. You have to just higher level things to do." Well, I brought the woman the food anyway, and then I went out to him and I said, in the calmest way I possibly could, "Don't you ever tell me not to give food to a patient." Well, he was furious. He went up and he told on me. So after everything calmed down, he refused to work with me after that, by the way.
Can we wrap it up now so everybody else
Yeah.
has a chance? We've already got a
Yeah.
half hour into the program.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. I just want to make a point.
I think that's a very good example of sacred rage, and
Mhm.
I'm grateful
Yeah.
for that story.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, Diana. I'd
Okay.
like to move on to another person.
Okay.
Yes,
That's
please.
fine.
And I really want to honor that everybody can share. So I
Oh,
brought
I understand.
I brought my wonderful drum, which was painted by Gayle. And I'm just going to do, after a few minutes, I'm going to do this. So people know that they slowly but gently wrap up with their stories. I know we can all be completely caught up in our own stories, and I can feel the emotion, Diana. I really can feel it, and I'm grateful for your story. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hey, yeah, well, my pleasure. Really.
So anybody else would like to speak, introduce briefly, and then have a story or a resonance? Yes, please, Leila.
I will speak now. Thank you so much. And I just want to say I was born on Long Island, New York, and I moved to Canada in 2012. So I totally share what Diane said about what's going on there. And in fact, that's what sparked this sacred rage in me, that I started to really feel into what was happening to women and children, men and women and children of brown skin who are still being, you know, gathered up and put in very inhumane conditions. And oh yeah, so um, that's where I start. I do a lot of walking in the woods with my dogs, and I do some YouTube videos when I'm walking around there, and I I started really feeling this rage and thinking about it and then I wrote a piece about a tsunami of rage, and it's just like this energy that's coming out and just saying no. Yashodhara. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing your name right, but that's what you were saying. I'm going, yes, yes, no. And so so anyway, that's where Sacred Rage was sparked within me. I had no idea it was such a big thing. And I'm really so glad that many people are discussing it and finding ways to deal with these feelings that are very rooted in protecting the innocent in so many ways. And I seem to be reading a lot of books of fiction now and nonfiction that have to do with the women's journey through the through thousands of years. And I feel that we did live in a time that was pre-patriarchal, that it feels very circular to me. And I have these visions of moving out of the top-down hierarchy, like don't bring food to someone because you're up there in the hierarchy. And we're moving away from that into circular ways of being. And so in extricating ourselves from this patriarchy, it's like I see this pyramid and I see all these people crawling out from underneath it because the pyramid has been resting on our shoulders um, through the centuries. And I don't mean just women, but so we're leaving that behind and it is crumbling. And I guess it's probably going to take a while. I hope I live to see the final, I hope I live to see the rebirthing of this new way of being here that feels very guided by feminine wisdom and divine masculine wisdom too. This isn't about matriarchy taking over the patriarchy and becoming a new boss. It's more we need to be able to integrate and um, find our ways together. So just to wrap it up, about what I'm doing right now is I feel very drawn to do more writing, and there are some stories that I've been working on for many years, and it's like now or never. So that's kind of now or never to actually write them, and it's very daunting, but I need to get away from being the deer in the headlight with these projects and just move forward and have fun with it because it's very creative and it involves just opening up and sort of channeling the like I'm following the journey of the story and as it unfolds. It's quite really wonderful to do that. So anyway, so that's where I'm at now, and I guess we'll go back into a deeper exploration of sacred rage as we come back around the circle today. So thank you.
Thank you, Leila.
So if it's okay, I would like to follow you. I'm Almut Sorlak. I'm from Germany as well. And I live in the north of Germany. And for 20 years, I combine my medicine. I'm a general practitioner with spiritual healing and shamanic works. And nearly 10 years ago, I met Gayle in Greenland. And so we're walking together, and she kind of gave life to my dragon energy. So this is a very powerful energy. And I think this sacred rage is something that gives a place for this energy and for the things that want to be dealt with. So the things we have to do. And I just heard something from Sadhguru, and it's that our ability to respond is limitless. We're responding to everything. So our responsibility is nearly for everything, but our ability to react is limited because we're just humans. So this sacred rage kind of gives us more power to react and to change things. At my place where I'm working, so my little space there, that's only the thing I can do. I can do it there. So we all can do, every one of us can do it there. So I think this sacred rage is something that gives us the ability to react and to respond and to act. So I'm very grateful, and I'm very grateful that I'm here. So it's the first time for me here. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much, Almut. I'm very happy that you're here. And I do have a question when you say that, because I do have the question, how do you have an example, or can you say how you express your rage? Can you express your rage in a constructive way when you in your profession?
Yeah, I express it in a different way you would expect. I step back and I try to concentrate on listening and not to judge, and try to look behind the screen, because every person who's there and who does whatever does it because of a reason. So I try not to judge them and keep by myself and try not to react, but to act in the way I feel is the right way in that moment. So if somebody comes to me, he comes because he needs help. And I'm not the one to judge. Even if I don't understand, or I have this rage, why do you do that to yourself? So just step back and try to listen and only do what they ask me to do. And in a greater sense, I can't heal the medicine. The medicine has to heal itself from inside. And this sacred rage might be the way to do that, because you don't need money to heal. You just need this space to do that. So maybe that's it. I don't know.
Wow, thank you. Because you also do shamanic ceremonies, huh? You work shamanically in your practice. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Who's next? Yes,
Can I open it? Hello to everybody. It is a pleasure to be here. Gayle, thank you, and Suzanne for doing this gathering, for have the opportunity to get us all together. My name is Senteot Tonakasiwat. I'm a medicine woman from a Mexican oral tradition line that already is working for 19 generations, since around 500 years ago, passing all this wisdom, this beautiful wisdom of the Mexica, or what you may know as Aztec line. And I am the feminine column of a family that is working right now with the next generation. There is 3 girls. All the generation is feminine. So we are so happy also for that. And I used to support women like you through their circular transformations also. So what I'm gonna do this time, only this time, girls, is my English is not that perfect. I will love it. It will be in the future, I suppose. But I rather right now to try to read what I want to share about this special issue that Leila, thank you, Leila, come to this space for everybody. So because we do a lot of work with the students, we are passing all this information now in an open way. We used to do it in a silence way, maybe still 35 years ago. And now all this is open. So it is a pleasure, really. What I can share with you is that your inner fire is burning up. And fire's job is to transform the matter. That is why you feel the need to burn or to transform everything externally, because your inner self is burning. So it's about using the fire in a consciously way to transform your environment. But to do that, you need to know how the fire moves, how this energy works. That is why we guide the students to work on rituals or ceremonies that help us to visualize or reflect our inner fire and to learn to channel it. Now, the other element will be the water, the other element we use to work with in order to move all this energy. And give me 1 second, I just get lost. Yeah, from there, we have the temazcals here in Mexico. That is what you may know as the the bath of steam bath. I don't remember the other name that you used to use, but that is what we call the temazcal. It is our complete medicine here in Mexico, and it gets together all the lines of medicine that we know. You can leave them in a temazcal ceremony. So that is why we work a lot with water and fire. Mhm. Exactly, the sweet lush. Thank you. Um, we have this bathing also, or this practice of getting a bath with serenated water, or simply just drinking water after doing the exercises with the water jar. There's a little exercise that now, if I have the time, I would like to show it to you. Always we do the exercises in a same time in order to go into a discipline concept, in order to integrate it in a more easy way for us. We also do walks like the sacred walk that we did right now, just in the equinox, in our ancestral ceremony centers like Teotihuacan. We just did it like some weeks ago. We were around 120 or maybe 150 people. And also we participate in art expressions with several different friends from different art forms. Such right now, we just yesterday watching the video called United and Movement, which speaks of its identity and how to unite in the movements that allowed us to channel this energy of anger, and transform it into concrete actions. We have this video right now in YouTube. We find it as Unidad en Movimiento. And I would like to show you this little exercise. This is what we call in Mexico a jarrito, a little ceramic container. We have it full of water. And the idea is that you can have both jarritos the same, if it's the option. And then you start working, you raise your arms, and your work is going to be to observe it. And just start working with water, just like that. And then you go back. And we used to start moving like this. We use different numbers, or what we may understand as the numbers of system, or now we all in system that is very similar to what you understand the medicine wheel in other countries. And we are talking about a system that connects us with the 4 directions, for everything. So the idea is to continue working with water. You really connect with the element. It totally gives us in an action because we are moving hands. We are connected with our heart, with our brain, and especially for women that we already have all our matrix or our womb turn it on, because there we have our fire. So we are totally connecting, doing the exercise. We can go maybe to just as simple as 9 times, or maybe you do have to do a practice of around 260 times or something like that. We don't know. It will be on whatever you need in order to try to calm down and to observe, since this idea that I can separate from this era, from this range. No, is we don't want to go only to be mad. We really want to go, why are we feeling like that? What can we do with this feeling? What actions can we really go directly? So, as I was sharing with you, we were in this sacred walking path on Teotihuacan, and we walk activating different ceremonies on the different stages of the pyramids we have there. And it was so beautiful to have it. We were all the day together, and we were a lot of medicine women working, or as we did in the La Voz de las Abuelas de las Américas, that we were around 600 women, and we were guided by 13 elders. So this is what we need to continue working with the people. It is my pleasure to be here, Gayle. I'm trying to be concrete because we have so many other sisters to share. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well,
That was fascinating. Mayana, please.
yeah, thank you. Oh, perfect to go after you, dear. That was water and fire is where my thoughts have been also. And thank you, Gayle, and thank you, Suzanne.
Yeah, sacred rage, I've been thinking about it since we spoke, since the comment came up about what we're going to talk about. And the first thing that, well, okay, I'm Mayana Kingery. I'm from Stewart, Virginia in the USA. I'm one of those who is living under this that we've talked about. I am the administrator for the Global Grandmothers Council Network through the nonprofit Peace Production that I'm president of, and I am also working just really quickly to let you know right now on creating a live action test facility for the healing of the world in Boone, North Carolina. And there's a project coming into funding in these days that's really exciting. And what brought, or the reason I'm talking about that is because one of our partners in it are the Firefighters of America, and it's a woman. And to me, sacred rage is an activation. You get to a point and you say no more, but you don't stay there. Like Almuth was saying, you move into, okay, what do you do to fix, what do you do differently? How do we remediate? How do we change it? How do we bring what needs to be to this instead of what is? So the firefighting women, I just had this image of them with this big hose of water putting out the fires of war. And energetically, you know, we've all probably all heard of Burning Man and that festival where they go and they create and then they burn it all up. Well, we've been talking for 10 years about doing Watering Woman, because Watering Woman goes in and has a festival and builds up long-lasting infrastructure for the location. Sacred rage activates you to say, okay, we have to do something different. And then our creativity will allow us to explore different ways that how can we do it? What can we do? Where can we do it? And, you know, the sacred rage for me began as a child, and the inconsistencies that I saw, it turned into what I called righteous indignation. That's wrong. You're saying one thing and you're doing another. And I had righteous indignation. And I stayed in righteous indignation for a long time. And I would speak out and I would tell preachers what I thought of them and what I thought of what they were saying from the pulpit. And I would speak out against principals if I saw them doing something that was unhealthy for the children. And I'd become a mama bear. When I go, you know, when my kids are in school, I become this mama bear. But now I'm focused on what can be built. How can we move forward and not be stuck in any kind of rage? And I value so much that sacred rage is rising in consciousness, because that means we're ready to come together and make the changes that are needed.
Thank you very much, Mayana. I love that aspect of sacred rage rising in our consciousness. Thank you so much. I can relate to that. Ellen, would you like to speak now?
Sure. My name is Ellen. I live in Ontario, Canada, not too far from where Gayle and the community where Gayle and Layla live, a little town called Tweed. I think the last time I spoke, I mentioned that I have a weekly group that meets in my home, and it's a spiritual study group. We've been meeting since 2013. 2 years ago, I also started a peace program in my community, which has become pretty demanding. And I've been feeling a bit burnt out lately, so I'm going to scale back a bit. And when we talk about sacred rage, it makes me think of sacred warriors. And it's not a concept I've thought of before. Sacred rage. I just haven't considered it before because I guess my focus, I'm a water. I go with the flow. I find myself always the peacekeeper rather than being full of rage. I basically just, I hold light. I hold space for the light. That's what I do. So this sacred rage is something that I am going to have to meditate on. It's not something I've considered before. But I'm learning a lot here today. Thank you very much. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gayle, would you like to say something, Gayle?
Yeah. I'm waiting for everybody else. Yeah, the sacred rage, the term. I mean, oh yeah. Do I need to introduce myself? Maybe for the public when we show this publicly. My name is Gayle Crosmaz, and I live in Northern Ontario, Canada, on the edge of the wilderness. And I travel the world bringing messages from the ancestors. I walk between worlds. I died at birth and had a few other near deaths, depending on what you classify as near deaths. I've been in that, comas and, pain comas and near deaths and coming back and tunnels and lights and all that. So I walk between worlds, one foot in the 3D world and one foot in the spiritual world. So it makes it quite easy for me to receive information because it's always there pounding at my door. And what I've been focused on for most of my life is I guess started as the oldest of siblings of 5 of protecting my brothers and sisters, and then as I grew older, then it protecting my family, and then as I started to see injustice in the community, protecting those around me, the women especially, who, I mean, I had friends who were being picked on by their spouses, and that always would create such rage that I in there protecting, verbally, because they weren't able to stand up for themselves, and I was always in there, don't talk to them that way. It's not right. But anyway, so what I've been doing, concentrating on, is gathering the women around the world and saying, how do you feel? What is your path? Where do you want to go? What is your pain? Let's release that pain. Let's turn that pain into action. And I had a recent, an elder upset because she had to cancel her spiritual gathering when she has quite often and well-attended spiritual gatherings, and it had to be canceled. She's in the United States, and she was quite devastated that this one did not get off the ground. And I said to her, you have been creating these gatherings, sending prayers to the Creator, to the ancestors, to the guides, to please awaken the people to take positive action and get out there and do something positive out there with their sacred rage. And now everybody's out there gathered in the millions all over, expressing themselves. I said, so you've done your job, your prayers have worked, so take a break and let them go out there and now mobilize. These people are awake and ready to go and take action. They just want some leadership. Maybe they already have leadership. Maybe they already are part of different organizations around the world that are taking positive action. But if they aren't, then start an organization, start a movement. Be one of those that goes out there and say, come, join me. Because there are millions of people saying, help, we want to help, show us how, tell us how. We want to be part of this movement. We just need some guidance. We just need some enlightenment. So I put it out to you and those who are going to be listening to this broadcast later on. Take responsibility for anything, no matter how small. You decide what it is that you can do or not do, either within your home, your community, or further afield. Everybody takes a responsibility for something. anything and follow it through. And that will help shift the collective. And this is what we are at now, where we have starting getting close. And I've been talking about the project tipping point. And I've been talking about this for a decade, project tipping point, the collective consciousness reaching. And Ellen talked about this at her Peace Poll presentation, the tipping point, that the collective consciousness have reaching this point in time where it's going to shift to the positive. And now that there are millions and millions of people that are awakening and saying, we want to help, we're getting there to the tipping point. They just need some guidance and reassurance from you. All of you who are out there, those who are on this panel today, and those who will be listening to this broadcast in their community. Be part of the movement. Take responsibility from some small thing. It doesn't matter how small, whether it be putting out a helping hand to help your neighbor. It doesn't matter how small. You can make it big, you can make it small, or anywhere in between. But it's working. It's working, and we need to keep that positive energy inside of us to promote that out into the world, to dismantle the feelings of destructive rage and the feelings of hopelessness and despair, when we give them something to hope for. Us. I had a gathering just a few days ago, and the question in this gathering was, what gift has your ancestors given you in this lifetime? And her answer was, I'm the gift. I'm the gift of my ancestors, because I'm here to make changes, and I am the gift. And so are you. You are all the gift from your ancestors here now, and that's why you're here, because you're the gift to change the world. That's all we need to do, is join together and be the gift. Thank you. Your turn, Suzanne. And Karuna, when you want to speak as well, you are welcome to.
Thank you. My name is Karuna. I live in above Boulder, Colorado, in the Rocky Mountains, on 148 acres of land that I steward, and I've mitigated, and I've spoken to, and I met the moose face on the day I was meeting with grandmother Gayle. And so I want to just encourage, I put something in the chat that if each and every one of you could contribute the way that Mayana has brought me to Gayle, and this was through the Founding Mothers movement that I'm a big part of and a founder of. However, it's also a huge conversation for the International Yoga Day issue that I've been doing, and quarterly throughout the years. And experimenting with various people who are being called out as well and dropped. And so we're finding ourselves in so many places we could experience sacred rage, and really evolving through the hatred and the anger and into the insight and the inner peace, and what you're all speaking about. And I'm so grateful for. So please, I put my email in there, and if you could just, if that's okay with Gayle and Suzanne and Mayana and all of you too, and I listened to you, Leela, and what you said, and I think it is us in this conversation right now that is activating the worldwide global consciousness frequency and vibration to reach all of us. And it's really spreading immediately. Because it's no sooner than I meet Mayana, that I meet Gayle in the same week, that I meet a challenge to say no, and then I move it on and publish it in my newsletter this day, today. And so it's very important I think we've activated this conversation of sacred rage, and we're on to something fabulous. Thank you. Essential, I say, when I mean fabulous. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much.
Suzanne, thank you, Karen. I would like to add something if it's possible and fast. I just was hearing Gayle now, and I remember with this idea of to be a leader, to really support other people. And we were going back in a storyteller very fast. We were at the No King First March in USA, and some medicine woman that we are students from our family call us from USA, and they say, we are feeling vulnerable. We are kind of scared. We are going to go out to walk, but we are really scared. And I was chatting with them, and finally in that conversation, I come to, but you don't need to feel just like that because you are not alone. I mean, we are not there with you. We cannot go out to walk with you, but we can call. We can do a call here in Mexico in order to get together the biggest amount of women related with fire woman, in a ceremony way, of course. And I start doing the movement. And I remember we only have like 2 days. And I remember that finally I got around 75 women of fire getting together in each one of us in our houses, but we know that we were doing that. We just need to do some callings to friends who were on radio, who were with TV, digital TV programs, things like that, and through the chats of WhatsApp. This spread, and it moves a lot, and I really love it. And I remember the calling was saw by around more than 1,500 people. I really don't know how many other women could add their fire, but it was amazing. And it was an action, and they really feel like protected by the fire woman of Mexico in order to be with this brave attitude to go out. So that's the point. The movement, the action. Thank you. Thank you, Gayle.
Oh, thank you very much, Sen. I mean, I think that's an amazing aspect as well, how we can support each other energetically, yeah? Not just by marching with the women, but also, from a distance. I mean, after all, we are all shaman women, and we know the power of this support through ceremonies. I mean, Gayle ceremonies are so powerful. Maybe you can say a word about a ceremony for sacred rage, Gayle.
Well, my go-to is the drum. is it, and because that gets me into that place in between, that place in between the 3D world and the spiritual world. So that place of nothingness, the great expanse, the everything and nothing out there, that space. And the drum has helped me shift feelings of despair, feelings of rage, feelings of loneliness, feelings of worry and anxiety. That is my go-to. I mean, because that works for me. And I often wondered lately, this past couple of years, why I'm used to the drum several times a day to get into that space of peace and contentment and in between. And then I thought, why aren't I drumming anymore? Unless it's a ceremony or a gathering, I'm not drumming for myself anymore. And so I'm asking, like, why? Why am I not drumming? And they said, because you're in that space. You don't need the drum to go there now. You're there. Oh, okay. Don't beat yourself up. Because a lot of times we don't even realize that we have reached that space. We're still looking for it, but we're already there because we're here. If we weren't already there, we wouldn't be here. Yeah.
Thank you. Wow.
So,
Oh,
Suzanne, you
wow.
haven't shared yours.
Oh,
Tell
absolutely.
tell everyone who doesn't know you about you.
Well, there's so many aspects here with everybody mentioning. I'm like, yes, here, 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 and here. Maybe I just share one thing. I've been raised Catholic, and whenever I was in a church, and met a priest, and he said all these words which didn't really mean a lot. I was confused, and then in between, trying to fit in and trying to figure out what's there, what is there for me as a message, and then there was a change once, and that was only a few years ago when I suddenly looked at this priest, and I was getting that very clear message with all my rage about, how the women have been treated in the last centuries by the church. And I got these three words in my head. It was really like on your knees. And whenever I get these words in my head, I mean, I'm getting goosebumps now because it was so powerful for me to experience this power in my consciousness that I was thinking with regard to this priest who was so arrogant. It's your role now to get on your knees and pray to the feminine, or not pray to the feminine, but just bow down to the feminine. And so that was one of my examples when I realized, yeah, the consciousness, and that's why I loved so much what you said, Mariana, about the consciousness raising. Yeah, I love that because I'm more an introvert person, and I used to always try and fit in everywhere. And so when people said to me, you need to be more angry, or why are you not revolting? I'm not like Gayle, who's guiding the Irish army into war, I'm not like her. I'm just very different. And I was always feeling a bit, like obliged to do something, or feeling guilty, or that I didn't do enough or so. But I know now that I have this power inside me, and I can actually wake it up, and it's there. And I think that's a very, very important thing at the moment. So I entirely agree with you, Karuna, what you said about, yeah, by having this discussion, having those discussions, we are raising the consciousness for that sacred rage and the importance of it. And yeah, thank you very much. Well, and we said, Gayle, we would try and keep it to an hour. So we have an hour now and 5 minutes. I feel we can, yeah, Mariana, please. Yes, please.
I must share this. I didn't earlier, that when it first came to me, I trace things. I go to the source. Where's this coming from? These wars that we're having, the state of our world. Where is the beginning point of it? And I was taken to Sarah and Hagar, the wife and the concubine, who were, neither one had a choice, but they were put at battle against each other, and they each had one son, and they became enemies because of the father. And so I just quickly want to say that I've been looking at how can I go within and find those two women and make peace between them in me? Because then their children won't be angry with each other. And I just encourage all of us to consider that kind of action as the inner little tiny thing that one person can do that will really have a big impact.
Thank you. We wanted to talk about, we had a topic idea, and actually, Karuna kind of inspired this topic idea when we had our little chat on Friday. And um, we talked about ceremony and how people are drawn to come and experience ceremony and watch ceremony and be part of ceremony. And I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if we meet in 2 months in mid-June, just prior to the summer solstice? And I would like to invite each of you to perform a short ceremony, how you celebrate the summer solstice in your community or in your tradition or in your culture. And this is all going to be filmed prior to the summer solstice so that when we release it to the world, people can see the different types of summer solstice ceremonies that are being performed around the world, and they can either be part of that or create their own ceremony and be inspired to create their own ceremony. And I would like us to try to set it up as a live stream on Facebook so that as each are doing a ceremony, people can watch the ceremonies in action live, and then we'll also record it and send that out afterwards so that people can watch the different ceremonies prior to the summer solstice and be part of that from around the world. So that's our idea. Who likes it? Awesome. Great, great. So we'll work out the details on that and then get it sent out in our next invitation before we meet again. Yeah.
Thank you, Gayle. Would you like to drum at the end after all? You know, your horse drumming or
I could. I have to swing my external mic around.
And move a bit further back and put your audio on music
Yeah.
And everybody else muted. Yeah. Thank you.
So I will move back and get a drum beater. Let me see. There's one. Some of my ancestors are Eastern European, Siberian. So this is a Siberian teardrop with my medicine on it. Okay. I'll test first and you give me a thumbs up if it sounds okay.
Aho metakoyase.
Thank you. Thank you, Gayle. And thank you, everybody, for all your amazing contributions. I will drop a
Carolina,
little
can I ask you to stay to chat with Suzanne and I after everyone leaves?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, dear.
Mm-hmm.
I am so happy that you all joined us today. I am so happy. Are we still recording?
Yes, we are.
Oh.
Would you like me to stop?
I just wanted to say thank you, everyone who's going to be watching this as we post it online and share it with you, each and every one of you, to share it in your community. And join us again in June as we put on live performances of ceremony. in our various cultures around the world. Blessings.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Such a joy.
Thank you. Me too. Thank you. It was wonderful to be here with all of you. Thank you, Suzanne, Gayle. Bow down to all of you.
Yes, thank you, everyone. So good to meet you all.
Thank you.
Thank you to all of you from Mexico. Thank you.